Hi, my name is Melinda Skirvin. I attend Florida State College of Jacksonville. I'm in the BSN program, and I'm here to speak to you today about the occupational nurse. Occupational nursing is a specialty nursing practice that provides and delivers health and safety services to employees and employee populations. Some of the care that is provided by the occupational nurse is direct patient care, health promotion and disease prevention, which is especially helpful right now with this flu season, hazard assessment and surveillance of employee populations, investigations, analysis of injuries and illnesses, which comes into play with workers' comp cases, and so does case management, counseling, health education, and training programs, which provides a better quality of life for employees, development, implementation, and monitoring and analysis of health and safety to provide a safer environment at the place of employment, oversight of legal, regulatory, and ethical compliance, which was a piece that I was not aware of, management of occupational and environmental health services, and primary care for both the occupational and the non-occupational illnesses and diseases, which again, flu season and the norovirus come into play there. There are a lot of teaching strategies that the occupational nurse might use. They need to obtain some knowledge of the working environment so that they can better make an analysis and recommendations for increased safety. They need to adjust their information and their teaching to the abilities of the learner. They need to support the learner with positive reinforcement. I know when I give presentations, I give a lot of praise and also some candy, which does help. Several methods of teaching to accommodate a variety of learning styles and to provide learning opportunities through hearing, seeing, and doing. I know I do much better in person and hearing in addition to seeing. It's important to set realistic goals, to involve the learner in the learning process, and to make every effort to hold the learner's interest and to make adjustments if needed. If you see they're disengaging, you need to do something to kind of shake it up and get them back in focus. Make sure that the information being shared is accurate and from reliable sources, and also create an environment of trust so that the learner has a comfort level so that they can share concerns or any questions that they might have. There are some educational requirements. I was surprised to learn that you can be an LPN or an RN. An RN with a bachelor's degree is what is preferred. They do recommend and look for experience in critical care, ambulatory care, community health, and emergency nursing. And the occupational nurse can also obtain a master's degree in areas such as public health, advanced practice, and business administration to build their professional competencies. There is an association, the American Association of Occupational Health, also known as the AAOHN, and they have a certification. And that certification requires 4,000 hours in the field within the last 5 years, a completion of 50 CEUs or continuing education units in occupational health, and to successfully pass a national certification. In the occupational nurse position, there is a requirement to interact with a lot of other disciplines in order to be fully effective. You would interact with the workers there at the employee site, supervisors, administration, owners. You may interact also with hospitals and clinics in the case of workers' comp and case management, nurses, physicians, PT and OT again, in regards to workers' compensation. You may also interact with attorneys when you get into the legal piece of it and when there are things that involve FMLA or OSHA. You may interact also with workers' families, manufacturers of equipment, or so that you can make recommendations or figure out what might be a safer way to work with the equipment. You may interact also with other case managers, human resources, of course. It seems like everything interacts with human resources, and educational resources. There are some skill requirements that really help when you're the occupational nurse. One thing would be, first and foremost, and it seems like this is important in all cases, exceptional communication skills. Knowledge of emergency care, ambulatory care, community health, and critical care would be a skill requirement for this position. Great assessment skills, organizational skills, and interpersonal skills, which again goes back to the communication piece. The ability to evaluate the level of the learner and to tailor the information to that learner's abilities. Keen observational skills, very important, especially when it comes to safety. The ability to influence and affect change. The ability to understand mechanical equipment, which is the reason why I would not be an occupational nurse, because I'm not good at that. The ability to compile information and reports and identify trends, and also be proficient in writing skills. The interesting and unique facts that I found in looking up and researching the occupational nurse. There are a lot of resources for the occupational nurse. I did not know about these resources. They're the American Board of Occupational Health Nurses, the American College of Occupational Environmental Medicine, the Association of Occupational Health Professionals in Healthcare, the National Institute for Public Safety and Health, and the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, and of course, the National Safety Council. Some occupational health nursing requirements and the knowledge of laws and regulations. That was something that I was not aware of. I did not realize the occupational nurse had so much of a legal position. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, the dreaded OSHA. I know where I work, we're always afraid of OSHA. The Americans with Disability Act, which is a pretty complicated act that requires a lot of knowledge. The Workers' Compensation Act, which also requires a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of ins and outs to that most people do not understand. And HIPAA, the Health Information Portability and Accountability Act. Some of the other interesting facts that I found in researching the occupational nurse is that the first occupational environmental nurse in the United States actually came about in 1888. The profession evolved with the industry growth as factories employed nurses to combat the spread of infectious diseases such as TB. That was really interesting to me. They would address health-related problems resulting from labor shortages during World War I, and that's really how the occupational nurse came about, and also to cut costs arising from workers' compensation legislation. Poor employee health costs businesses about $1 trillion annually. That was surprising to me. And the occupational nurses are the largest group of healthcare providers serving the work site. The AAOC has more than 4,000 members and recently opened the certification up to the practical nurse. Salary was important to me. Anytime that I would look to maybe make a change, I always look at salaries, and the salary range for the RN ranges anywhere from $74,000 to $92,000 with a median salary of about $83,000. And that, of course, depends on your area you live in, your education, and your experience. And for the licensed practical nurse, it is $41,000 to $67,000 with a median of about $48,000. Again, dependent on many factors, including where the cost of living where you live and the educational experience. And these are the references that I use to research this occupational nurse profession. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you very much.